Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. It is a beautiful 10th of February, 2021. Coming up on the Crusty Canuck podcast. Well, we'll be discussing Elizabeth May's little Yahoo entourage, more of Justin Trudeau's screw up with the vaccines, and other political blunders coming up. Stick around.
Hit it, sweetheart. Because I am hard, you will not like me. Yes, sir. There is no racial bigotry here. Here you are all equally worthy.
This is the Crusty Canuck podcast, a Canadian veteran's point of view on politics, social, economic issues, and life. Here's Crusty.
Listener discretion is advised. Yes, that's right, ladies and gentlemen. Another beautiful, burry, yet effective February 10th, 2021. It is a nice, balmy, minus 35 Celsius out there. And to my American listeners, a nice minus 31 Fahrenheit. Yes, it's colder than a witch's you-know-what. Arctic temperatures, all that good stuff. What they affectionately call now the polar vortex. It's a con. It's just bloody cold. Get over it. Wrap your face, wrap your heads. Wrap your hands, wrap your cocks, and all and drop your socks, all that good stuff. Just pay attention to the detail. If you step outside and you find that your face is freezing, well, cover your face up. And remember, keep your vehicles and all that plugged in so when they start on command, you're good to go. You generate heat and all that good stuff, and it keeps the longevity of your battery alive. Anyhow, I digress. Yes, I've been saying that a lot lately. Carrying on, like I said in the intro, Elizabeth May's faux pas. More BS from the Trudeau government in regards to vaccines and procurement and other social dilemmas. Yes, it's big news right now, North America. Mr. Trump and his impeachment trial, all this other BS to try to stick Trump with everything else. Now, my personal opinion towards Donald Trump is this. Yes, he was a bit of a goof, a bit of a, not great of a public speaker. But I look at the fact that he kept Americans working. He put some money back in the American taxpayer's pocket. Didn't get involved in any dirty effing wars. And just kept his head up, kept his chin up. So regardless of how you personally feel about the man or not, the way I look at it, my lifestyle was not compromised because of his actions or his words. Because we know how trendy it is right now to sit and feel so oppressed because someone has an opinion other than your own. Oh my goodness. Heaven forbid, eh? Anyway, carrying on. That's another big issue happening in the States as we speak. So my American listeners out there, Godspeed, God bless, all that good stuff. Anyway, carrying on with Elizabeth May's faux pas. Now, it's just brought to my attention recently that Mr. Pierre Poilievre is no longer the finance critic in Parliament. I guess the shadow cabinet is having a big move around, big overhaul. So I don't exactly know at the moment who is going to replace Mr. Poilievre, but like I said, I'm not a conservative, but it was good to see that he was promoting the healthy opposition to the best of his ability by throwing facts into the half-assed liberal fucking SJW figurehood. So, it's a sad fucking thing because I thought he was an excellent opposition member. I thought he was doing a great job bringing the facts to the liberal spending spree. But we'll see how Mr. Toole is going to fare by bringing someone else in to stand up for the Canadian taxpayer, considering the Liberals will never fucking do it, and the NDP don't like it because they love taxes. And the Bloc, who really gives a shit, they just love the free money that comes from Canadian oil. So we'll leave that for another time. Anyhow, which brings me to, I'm going to start every other episode, I'm going to start using a new format. Yes, I'm going to call it the Canadian Polar Vortex of Bullshit. And I'll be giving it to some fortunate winner in our leadership spectrum. That's right. Every time a politician says something stupid, I will sit and I will decide which is the most heinous and ridiculous thing that these politicians could say, and I'll give them an award. So, this week, this episode, I'm going to nominate Miss Elizabeth May. Yep, the former leader of the Green Party. Former, I guess she still is an environmental activist, but basically, we know she's a heavy drinker, and she has said some stupid things and done some stupid things. An example of said stupid thing was, I guess, some kind of party they had a couple years ago where she'd get all hammered, and she was on stage saying how Omar Khadr was the great, better example of the most of politicians in the House. I got a video of that someplace, but I'll let you decide for yourselves. Ladies and gentlemen. Basically, she's an environmentalist. I get it. I like the environment too. I like trees. I like clean water. I like good mountains. But I also have an affection for something called fossil fuels. And especially this time of year when, like I said, it's minus fucking 35 out there with a wind chill about 48, minus 48, where you can freeze your ass off in a matter of minutes. And here are these individuals, such as Ms. Elizabeth May and other liberal aficionados and anti-oil and anti-gassers alike, stating that, saying the magical word of Yahoo once Mr. Biden canceled the Keystone pipeline. So, needless to say, Ms. May, congratulations on becoming part of the polar vortex of bullshit. I'll leave links in the description for you to decide. Ladies and gentlemen, if you like and hear what you see, please click like, subscribe, share this stuff around. I am not only on Facebook and Instagram and Twitter, but you can also find me on Gab, Telegram, Signal, and you can also find me on the Supercast application. Yes, a podcast platform that helps me distribute my content out there fairly without any censorship. And it's a Canadian-based company, too. So please take a look at that and subscribe to that, too. And if you do feel like donating, please donate. Go to CRUSTYCANUCK.ca. Links in the page there. And if you want some swagger, buy some merch, you can. Go to my Crusty Canuck page, customizedgirl.forward/Crusty Canuck. Find yourself some Crusty Canuck paraphernalia. I got t-shirts, I got hats, I got stickers, I got magnets, I got mugs, I got swimsuits for the ladies, and patriotic gish for the men out there. So please, and if you buy now, between now and the 28th of February, you can get 20% off. That's right, 20% off on Crusty Canuck swagger. Just use the code capital PWSS and get 20% off Crusty Canuck merchandise today. So anyway, carrying on. I like to give the Polar Vortex Award to Miss Elizabeth May for being such an incompetent and incoherent and out-of-touch leader, for congratulating Joe Biden by saying Yahoo, and considering the left side of the spectrum of politics today is always pinpointing all the stupid things that people say on Twitter and social media. Well done on you, madam, for saying Yahoo, to taking the opportunity, for believing that taking the opportunity from Canadians is a good thing. So well done on you, madam, and here's your prize.
The Canadian Polar Vortex of Bullshit
goes to Elizabeth May. Well done, madam. Next episode, we'll see what other politician or great leader or great know-it-all falls in that category. But the first recipient of said award goes to Miss Elizabeth May. So anyway, carrying on, more of JT's blunders. Now, I saw him on the news today, basically doing a CPAC briefing on how they're going to spend an additional $15 billion on public transit and more infrastructure. And of course, the old-fashioned climate Barbie and Barbie the Builder steps up and says her piece. Now, I didn't listen to what she had to say, probably because the sound of her voice and her logic just makes me want to puke, just the same as Justin Trudeau's and all of his little fucking entourage and followers alike. So, I'll sum it up for you and paraphrase. They want to spend roughly $15 billion beginning in 2026 in increasing transit, infrastructure, increasing, logistics, all that good stuff. $15 billion Canada-wide. Now, was that not one of the foundation promises that they made back in 2015 to increase infrastructure? There's also a sum of roughly $15 billion to $20 billion gone already in our infrastructure spending somewhere. Now, by his projections saying 2026, that's assuming he's going to get in again, right? I guess he's pretty confident he's going to get in because he's forgiven all these debts and forgiven all these loans, and especially some of the CERB payments being forgiven, or not necessarily being forgiven, but having the ability of no interest being attached on to said taxes until the next fiscal year. Wow, what a treat. Yeah, so that sheer arrogance to me is just a ploy and just basically hanging a pork chop in front of a starving dog, right? And to me, it's pretty disingenuous and pretty condescending on his part. This is stuff that should have been looked after a very, very fucking long time ago. Personally, I think he deserves
Absolutely nothing.
Especially when it comes down to spending more Canadian dollars on things that just don't work, like the so-called vaccine procurement. And, in my last episode, I made a point of saying Mrs. Arnond, or Ms. Arnond, basically saying, hush, hush about this. Don't want to jeopardize any contracts, don't want to jeopardize this. And yet, when we're looking at the Western world, to all the countries that have needed said vaccines, who needed help, they got it. All right? When you look at Britain and its ability to manufacture said vaccines and get people vaccinated, they did it. Same as our American counterparts, same as Italy, same as Germany, same as parts of France. And yet, what's Canada's excuse? Now, according to the CBC, the PM of India is willing to help out too, which is good. I like India. I think India is a pretty cool country. They got to work on their pollution problem, just the same as China, but that's besides the point at the moment now too. But what gets me is that we have the worst record in the G7 in regards to procuring things, getting things done. Unemployment has gone through the fucking roof. People's ability to move around is still being compromised, even though Ontario and Alberta has lifted a lot of their restrictions now. But still, there are still people out there getting ticketed and getting fined and being treated like absolute garbage because they want to hang out with their loved ones or go and have a burger or have a beer or play some fucking ice hockey. But I guess it's a start somewhat in the right direction. Now, I try to be optimistic about this, but then again, it's quite the shit show, ladies and gentlemen. I would say all conservative and all liberal leaders alike have done it all fucking wrong. Right? But then again, we got a prime minister that thinks China's basic dictatorship is wonderful because they can move their economy on a dime. Well, of course, if you have an economy that you can move on a dime, that means you have slave labor. That doesn't mean people are progressing and singing songs in the fields as they harvest the crops for the fucking proletariat. But then what do I know? Anyway, here's a message from my sponsors.
This is Brian Boucher, the new CEO of Canuck Gold Corp. We have gold at 99% purity with discounts ranging from $100 up to $200 off the ounce. This is the right place to buy, from 2-gram cards to 400-ounce bricks. We have any quantity of gold you are looking for. We also sell by the ton, not like your ex-wife. Visit us today at canudgold.com, CANUND gold.com.
In October of 2015, Lindsay Robbins, like many of her fellow Canadians, was struggling with the turmoil of mental illness. The ups and downs of what she was going through was shaping her realities, and she longed for structure. As luck would have it, that structure presented itself to her in the form of gardening. And through gardening, Lindsay had an awakening that led her to create Produce for Heroes. Lindsay realized that our veterans were going through their own mental struggles, and through her own experience, she realized the power of community. By desiring to help the way that she had been helped, she has created a program that provides relief to veterans. Her food program, which aims to provide veterans and their families relief from the stresses of food insecurity and help alleviate the cost of living for those that have sacrificed so much for their country. Whether it's through directly contacting Produce for Heroes or through a friend's referral, all veterans and their families living in Canada are welcome. By shining a light on the struggle of veterans and their families, Lindsay is hoping to get her fellow Canadians to hop on board and support Produce for Heroes and our great veterans. If you or a veteran you know needs help, ProduceForHeroes.com is a great place to start.
And yes, ladies and gentlemen, you can reach Brian and Scott at cunandgold.com and contact Lindsay at Produce for Heroes. I'll leave links in the description where you can reach them via their email. Any questions you have, please send them an email and ask them all the questions you need to know. And if there's anybody out there that would like sponsorship or like me to advertise their works, please send me an email at crustybcanuck67@gmail.com. And we can go from there. Anyway, carrying on again. More of this blundership and bullshit coming from our government as we speak. Now, as I mentioned earlier, we also hear about all these anti-oil people and all these anti-fuel people talking about how we have to do a greener thing. And buzzwords around the globe right now is how they want to talk about quarantining people in the name of the environment. Now, there was a German politician from the Socialist or Social Democratic Party. I guess it's the same equivalent as our NDP, more or less saying that it's good for us to stay inside. And mind our P's and Q's. And Paul Joseph Watson did a great little blurb on that, and I'll include that into my description as well. But what gets me is that they're all following the lines of this so-called great reset mentality and how we will, own nothing and do nothing and all this. And of course, a lot of our aficionados and great leaders are saying, that's just a conspiracy, right? But we all know it's bullshit, ladies and gentlemen. There are people out there with plans in the works that want to tell us what to do, when to wipe our nose, when to pick our nose, when to do all these wonderful things, right? All in the name of so-called progress and saving the globe. Now, my idea of saving the globe is doing your own thing. Plant your own goddamn trees. Plant your own crops. Understand water tables. Understand which is good, which is bad, what to use, what not to use. We don't need big government telling us what to think anymore and how to do it, right? You would think that over the past 50 years, we have learned to evolve from that kind of mandate. But no, there are people in power right now, people who are born into wealthy families who've accumulated and conglomerated great fortunes over the past 100 years that want to control our everyday lives. Now, I'm not against anybody who's rich. I don't care if you're a millionaire. I don't care if you're a billionaire, gazillionaire, or whatever the fuck royalty you come from, okay? Leave us the fuck alone. That simple, okay? We have governments now that are lifting these restrictions that they put in place, which we knew, that they knew too that it was wrong. And they really had no choice, so they say, or they're just, trying to be safe, when really you're trying to contain and stifle. So whoever's taking notes on this great experiment, keep that in mind, okay? Just leave us the fuck alone, okay? If you're not happy with having $1 billion in your fucking bank account, then I don't know what's going to make you happy there, Buckeyes. But I'm trying to keep my head afloat as it is already. And the last thing I need is some fucking know-it-all or some so-called Harvard, Oxford, or York University, or U of T, or U of Montreal, or McGill University know-it-all telling me how to fucking live my life. Okay? Because to all these fucking bastards out there that call themselves fucking leaders, there's myself, a lot of other veterans, a lot of working class Canadians that have had it with your shit. That simple. Okay? We don't care if you have a degree in this. We don't care if you're a doctor of this. We don't care if you know this. We don't care if you're a lawyer. We don't care if you're an orthodontist. We don't care if you wear a size 8 when you should be wearing a size 6. We don't really give a shit. What we give a shit about is that people can live with peace, freedom, and security. Those fundamentals. Like I say, I'm not dissing anybody who has a post-secondary education, and to my listeners out there who have happened to go to U of T or York University or McGill, that wasn't an attack towards you. That was just an attack towards the fucking mandates that people are trying to push down our throats. Especially the mandates being pushed down our throats the past 10 to 15 fucking years. All in the name of fucking inclusivity, diversity, and fucking branching out our conscience to do better things. I'm not disenfranchising diversity at all. Diversity of thought and ideas are the foundation of anything diverse, of any kind of progress. We know this. Yet we're constantly being told otherwise. Right? We're constantly being told other things. Just like that news blurb where Justin was on CPAC talking about $15 billion of investing. Really? Where are you going to get the money, Justin? Another fucking carbon tax, perhaps? Okay. See, the average Canadian right now is paying anywhere from an extra 2.3 to 3 cents extra a liter of gasoline. And then by 2022, it's probably going to be double that. All in the name of saving the environment. Right? And the only thing you're going to be saving is a few extra politicians' lackluster performance when it comes to procurement and looking after the finances in this country. So, all the more reasons to actually fight for an election, right? And contrary to the popular fucking belief, an election went on right fucking now. I know a lot of Canadians personally would probably vote more for fucking comfort and safety rather than practicality, probably because it's so damn cold outside. And the CERB payments have proven effective to the majority of Canadians that needed it. So, but my point to that would be, what's going to be left when things run out? Okay? Is UBI a great solution? A universal basic income a great solution? A proper handout a great solution? Where do you think these handouts come from? Right? Our government can say okay to the Royal Mint and start printing, and keep printing while our inflation hangs in the balance where it could go up, it could go down. We don't know because there's not enough productivity out there. We got politicians celebrating the fucking end of oil in this country. Well done, eh? You bunch of morons. You like getting paid the big bucks. You like getting 180,000 plus or more a year based on your position in said parliament, but you forget where all that money's coming from. The base you're taking a shit where you eat. Wow, that's brilliant, eh? Way to go, Elizabeth. Way to go, Jagmeet. Way to go, Justin. Way to go, Krista. Way to go, Barbie. Way to go, everybody else that sat there to follow the great leaders' mentality when it comes to moving things on a dime. Okay? Something to think about, folks. Something to really, really think about in the next few months, too, especially in this cold snap we're all feeling right now. Okay, I ask again, where are these aficionados who are dead against oil and fossil fuels? Where are they? Where aren't they protesting out in the street? Because it's too cold outside.
Well, smack my ass and call me Judy.
Exactly. Smack your ass and call yourself Judy. Right? It's too fucking cold to really do anything. Now, I was putzing around a bit outside. I had some issues with my battery, but I got one of those fancy chargers. So it just goes to show that you can't take things for granted, right? Before I go anywhere, I let the truck warm up for at least a good 20 minutes just to keep the engine cycles going, all that. Check my oil, check all this, check all my fluids, make sure my belts are good to go. You know, that my truck is receiving power, and I take it out and go do my business as per. And yet, you don't see the anti-oil or anti-gassers out there anywhere on droves, right? In fact, you're seeing more people, especially in the city of Edmonton. Follow the page Angry Albertan. He has some good work there, where teachers and educators alike are stepping up against the so-called new normal and this bullshit when it comes to masks, when it comes to vaccines, when it comes to the procurement process, basically politics in this country in general. Okay? That's also brought my attention to that Rebel News put up a good story. Frontline workers standing up against the fucking stupidity of some of these laws and legislation. So I'll leave links in the description for you all to read and decipher yourselves. And I want to say hats off to those frontline workers and doctors and nurses too that are stepping up and saying, hey, we got to reformulate and try to figure out what's going on here, because a lot of this shit's based on a lie. So good for them. Good for them. And especially good on there for the police officers that are standing on guard for thee too. A special shout out to those individuals, police on guard for thee. People that love being policemen, don't want to tarnish the image so far. And it's been tarnished enough, ladies and gentlemen, because I personally know police officers that are outstanding fucking men and women, and they do their goddamn best with what they fucking have. Just don't let a few bad apples spoil the batch. You know the saying, right? So let's not chastise our police officers. Let's give them a fucking break and treat them with respect and dignity, as we should. But the moment you see somebody being arrested for the sake of lipping off or not social distancing, all in the name of this so-called pandemic, then okay, be speculative. But like I said, I know police officers. They're good men and they're good women. So keep that in mind, folks. But I'll leave links in the description, as I mentioned. And we're carrying on with more of this buffoonery, more of this stuff on a dime, right? You can tell that these leaders are cringing at the fact that there might be an election. And what gets me is that there's so much confidence on their part that they're going to win too. Now, what gets me is that if he does win, well, I don't think they'll be screaming to the fucking heavens as there was down south when Trump got in the first time back in 2016, right? But I think there will be an upheave. I think there will be. What say you? CrustyBCanuck67@gmail.com. You can also find me on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, on the Gab application, and Telegram. You can also find me on Signal as well, or send me an email or a comment or two on YouTube and Podbean. You can also find me on the Supercast application, which I'll leave in the description. And I also joined another page called NewTube, kind of like YouTube, but without all the regulations and censorship and all that good stuff. So please check that out. I'll load up my videos and podcast there as well. So check out NewTube if you can. And as always, I will be on the Adam Daniel Mosé podcast, his Hidden Gem live stream. I'm a panel member of his work. You'll see me every Sunday, starting at 4 p.m. Mountain Standard Time, 6 p.m. Eastern Time to my Eastern listeners out there. So please join us there. Ask us any questions you want to know. Keep the conversation going. And as part of my new format too, ladies and gentlemen, every Thursday now I do a live stream. I call it the CRUSTYCANUCK Fastball. Basically, I have a guest every week. We'll have a little talk, interview, and then I'll leave the floor open to audience members to ask questions. Ask anything you want to know. Just keep it clean, ladies and gentlemen. Last week it was a success. I had Adam Denham-Muzet on, actor, director extraordinaire, all-around good Canadian guy. We had a great show. And tomorrow I'll be featuring Mr. Bennett Hunter, the Canadian Libertarian. I'm sure you've seen his channel on YouTube and heard his work over the past 3 years in regards to Canadian liberty and rights and privileges, all that good stuff. So please feel free to tune into that, and I will be live via StreamYard on YouTube and Facebook, respectively, beginning at 4 o'clock tomorrow afternoon, Mountain Standard Time, 6 o'clock to my Eastern listeners. I'll have Bennett on, and we'll have a good old talk about liberties, freedoms, and what's going on in Canada, politically and socially, and feel free to ask and donate all you like, please. But make sure, ladies and gentlemen, keep the questions clean, right? Don't be derogatory. Don't be rude. You know, I'm a firm believer in free speech, but I'm also a firm believer in common taste, meaning trying your best to be civil with people, regardless if you agree with them or not. So that's coming your way tomorrow afternoon, Thursday the 11th at 4 p.m. Mountain Standard Time. Tune into that. So I'm going to talk with Bennett. And carrying on with more of Miss May, Mr. Trudeau, and other idiots in the spectrum we call our parliamentary system. My suggestions are this, again, and I've said this every episode, ladies and gentlemen, stand our ground, stand high. Okay? Ask the pertinent questions. Now, I said 2 episodes ago that I called my local MP in regards to what Stephen Gobert is doing with this whole media regulation nonsense, and I haven't had a call back yet, per se. So I don't know if my MP was stifled by his party leader, being told, don't call him back because we don't agree with the agenda, or they just never got around to it. Well, you know, I've heard that story before, and have I ever said that to my employer? I have my ass canned. So I always made sure I got around to things when I was gainfully employed, ladies and gentlemen. Yeah, so it just goes to show the priorities, which also gives me more fuel to my fire when I throw my hat in there under the VCP moniker. And I'll just remind my listeners, too, I'm a member of the Veterans Coalition Party. And if once a federal election is called, I will be representing my riding under the VCP banner. So we keep constantly being told that change starts with the individual. So myself as an individual, I'm going to throw my hat into the political ring. So pay attention to those details under the Veteran Coalition Party page. And I'll leave links in the description for that as well. I don't know about you, but I think this weather has woken up a lot of people to the bitter reality of our lives here. And it's not just here in Alberta and Western Canada where we're feeling this sting. There's a cold snap going on all over the country in parts of the northern United States, part of the eastern seaboard too. So it's giving people the incentive that we can rely on fossil fuels to keep the lights on and to keep our toes warm. And to go to the bathroom with confidence knowing that the toilet seat is mediocre and we're not freezing our butts off in the process. So to all those individuals out there who loathe Canadian oil and gas, maybe you should be thankful for it. That when you get up in the morning and have your coffee and get to watch the news, you can still walk around in your bare feet and enjoy the comfort without having to put 2 or 3 pairs of socks on and an extra sweater. You know, because you want to cut costs and heating costs down. Something to think about. Different perspectives, right? Yeah. You'll sit there and hold your sign up in fucking May saying how Canadian oil is terrible and bad, and yet you're more than goddamn gracious to turn the gas on. You get up in the morning. Make sure you can wash yourself with warm water and have that nice cup of coffee and sit a bitch about how many righties out there are causing trouble in your livelihood. Again, I digress. But moving on again with more of this half-assed logic that we're being presented with in the guise of Canadian leadership. Again, I like to remind these individuals, too, that sit there and make these rules up. As far as I'm concerned, they really deserve
absolutely nothing.
Yeah, absolutely nothing. You know, they get a hefty paycheck. You know, they get little perks and advantages. You know, and what gets me, too, is that they'll still promote the welfare and the value of the old Governor Generals coming and going. And making sure they have their pensions and they get all the perks and benefits that too when I think, 9.4% our unemployment has gone up recent times. I think we're at 9.4%, I believe, right now of unemployment in this country because of the lockdowns. And last month alone, 213,000 jobs were gone because of these lockdowns. Not because there's no oil being produced en masse as it should, or the manufacturing sector has gotten a sting. It's because of all these provincial lockdowns that provincial and federal governments have fucking enforced. So it's on you assholes now. Right? All the premiers out there that said, it's a good thing, guess again. So now that places are opening up again and a little more restrictions are being lifted, I guess it's safe to assume that your plan didn't work, eh, fuckies? Right? Your plan didn't work. People want to go out and have a burger. People want to go out and have a beer. People want to go out and do their things. And if you want to put masks on, fine, put a mask on. My wife and I, every time we step out, we go shopping, yeah, we'll put a mask on just to avoid the bullshit. Honestly, you know, and I agree. It is a matter of our rights being compromised too. But when you start enforcing these tickets en masse, you know, going to people's homes 3 or 4 days after an event, handing them a ticket for associating or for protesting, their God-given fucking right in this country. Enough is enough. Okay? And to those police officers out there that firmly believe in enforcing those tickets and enforcing those fucking rules and clotheslining skateboarders in Barrie, Ontario, right? And threatening them with tasers, right? Give your fucking head a shake. Honestly. Now, I don't know the whole story about the Barrie incident, but from the footage I have seen, it seems pretty legit that that cop was way the fuck out of line. Okay? Honestly. And I have been in more violent situations than dealing with a mouthy skateboarder. So, something to think about, folks. Right? Especially the people that stood there and did nothing about it. Right? Fucking shame. If someone's lying there in the street and they're bleeding, you're almost obligated to help them. And I'm not saying by law, I'm saying by your own personal moral ethics. Right? Now, if that young man went through that red light and he said, fuck you, copper, okay, I can see the cop being mad. But that doesn't justify that kind of apprehension. Right? That doesn't. As far as I'm concerned, it doesn't. You know, give the kid a ticket. Hey, you went through a stoplight on a fucking skateboard. What are you, stupid? Okay, here's a ticket. But to sit there and treat him like cattle, like a second-class fucking citizen. You know, I don't know the whole story. There's probably a little bit, hell of a lot more to it than what both sides of the medium spectrum have been sharing around. But I don't think it was right. You know, I don't think it was right at all. You know, I don't think it was right that Mr. Floyd had to die in police custody. But when you catch someone doing a criminal act, then you apprehend them. But no way do you have to manhandle them unless they're a violent offender and they're flinging their arms around and threatening your life. Well, that's a different story. But that's just me, though. Like I say, tell me what you think. CrustyBCanuck67@gmail.com. You can find me on Facebook and Twitter under the same name. You can find me on Gab, YouTube, Signal, and Telegram. Please don't be shy. And if you like what you hear and see, please comment, click like, and subscribe, and share this around all over the tube and Podbean, respectively. All right, if you do feel like donating, folks, please, CrustyCanuck.ca. You find all my links to donations there. Give what you like. I'd like to make this a full-time commitment, ladies and gentlemen. I'm still working on that comedy. I am filming as we speak. Well, I'm not filming, I'm recording. I don't have a film camera, but you catch my drift. Little skits and all this suggestions. So hopefully by the end of this month, maybe early next month, I will actually have some comedy up there for you as well. So pay attention. But if you do feel like donating, please donate. Every little bit helps. And you can also donate via Super Sticker when I do the live streams as well every Thursday. So, and please pay attention to that too. Every Thursday I'll have a new guest. And this week, like I said, I'll have Bennett Hunter on, the Canadian Libertarian. And next Thursday at 4 p.m. Mountain Standard Time, I'll have a young man by the name of Fred Stockman, comes out of Massachusetts. He's a blue-collar kid, Kiwi American, just an all-around great Great individual to talk to. I've been a guest on his show a few times. Talked to his friends. He's talked to my friends, et cetera, et cetera. But we talk about politics in both of our countries, and we get along great. And I'm sure you'd all really get a hoot out of what he has to say about a lot of things from the American perspective and from a Commonwealth perspective, too, by all means. So please check that out as well, and there'll be more information on the community page. And please pay attention to my community page on YouTube and on Facebook for updates on events, on podcasts, on live streams, and on my merchandise, too. And I'll say again, if you go to my website for merchandise now, you can save 20% on your next purchase. Just use the code capital letters PWSS and get yourself 20% off of anything you want in the Crusty Canuck merchandise. And that offer is valid until the 20th of February, so take advantage of it now, ladies and gentlemen. Well, like I say, folks, we will find light at the end of these tunnels. Regardless of how you personally feel about this politician or that politician, I think we can all agree that Canadian fossil fuel is good, especially when it's, a nice balmy minus 35 outside with a wind chill of about minus 48. Yeah. So those kids out there that are against Canadian fossil fuel, then fine. You turn your gas off, walk around with your mucklucks, and wrap your face, and then go to bed with your coats on and see how it feels. Okay? Right? Because if we don't have fossil fuels, then we go back to burning coal and using wood again. And that's a lot of wood. And that's not good for the environment, too. So until we come up with a viable solution to keep our lights on, to keep our toes nice and warm and toasty in these record lows, this is what we got. And again, I don't see these politicians come up with any viable solutions. They keep promoting this green technology, and yet what's on the table? What plans are in the works as we speak? Just give us another carbon tax and everything will be just fine, right? Yeah, wrong. Can't tax people into prosperity, folks. Can't tax people into prosperity. They've tried that before, and what happened? Right? Recession, depressions, recessions. Over and over again, the vicious cycle. But I think we'll do okay. But I've also said, too, that there's things on the horizon that don't look too promising. But needless to say, stand our ground, folks. Do what we can. Like I say, help your neighbors out. Do what you best for them. Maybe help them with starting their vehicles. Do your best to help keep their vehicles warm, keep their lights on. Shovel a bit of snow, lay some salt down so people don't wipe out. Give a few bucks to help those with groceries. Help your neighbors out. Help your friends out. Do what you can for each other to the best of our ability. Little things add up too, ladies and gentlemen. And let's not stand for any more of this bullshit and this complacency. Let's keep these bigwigs on their fucking toes and remind them that they're working for us. It's that simple. But like I say, ladies and gentlemen, I have been Crusty Canuck on this beautiful 10th of February, 2021. Remember, keep your toques handy, your chapstick handy, face shields, especially face shields for the weather, not so much of the pandemic. Scars, face coverings, all that good stuff. Go out and give your trucks a car a start once in a while. Just keep the battery alive. And do what you can to help your friends out and your neighbors and your loved ones. Like I say, look after your friends, loved ones, and do what you can for each other. Okay? And like I always say, folks, humanity and merit wins the day. And I'll see you tomorrow on the live stream. Bye for now.
Hit it, sweetheart. Because I am hard, you will not like me. Yes, sir. There is no racial bigotry here. Here you are all